Okay, this is weird, this is crazy, this is maybe awesome. I don't even know what to think of what's going on right now, but we do have a leak that Pokemon Sun and Moon will be for the Nintendo Switch as well as the 3DS, and it will be getting a later release since the Nintendo Switch is going to be in 2017. So that's pretty crazy right there, but this leak is not a good thing for Nintendo, and Nintendo is already mad enough as it is, and let's see what Joe Merrick has to say about it. Also, interestingly enough, we know the Switch is a single screen thing, and hours before the leak, he was commenting about it, or at least, I think it was hours before. The thing that strikes me the most about Sun and Moon is how little it uses the two screens. Aside from battles, it could easily be a single screen game. There might be reason behind that. Also, traditionally, if we go back to the history of Pokemon, you know, in the beginning, battles took place on one screen, so some modifications, and it should work out just fine. But then, I wish these Switch leaks would ease up as we get into a Eurogamer. I have a bad feeling about this Eurogamer leak now. This is going to end badly for lots of people. I don't know who he's talking about. Is it maybe people working at Nintendo? Because it has been very leaky over there. That ship is sinking when it comes to Pokemon reveals and titles like Pokemon Sun and Moon. Pokemon Sun and Moon got out 11 days early, got absolutely shredded, and now everyone has like the game data files and they have actual pirated copies of the game. If you went online with a pirated copy of the game, Nintendo put their foot down. They're like, no, you are console banned from Wi-Fi. That is how serious and pissed off Nintendo is right now over this whole Pokemon Sun and Moon debacle, and then other leaks are going out. Who knows what's going on with Etika, and then there was a rumor about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild potentially being delayed, but since there wasn't an official announcement, people are losing their minds over that. The big problem, to those of you asking if Eurogamer's Switch report will piss off Nintendo, yes, Nintendo are going to be pissed about the timing, because why? Why do this on launch day? You're just going to piss Nintendo off as you damage sales for the linchpin to their holiday lineup, because Pokemon Sun and Moon is it. Pokemon Sun and Moon is the big Nintendo release right now, and it seems like since Eurogamer, they had a lot of time to compile this story. They had a lot of time to make sense of this all, get their facts straight. You know, they do have like inside sources, you know, multiple sources tell Eurogamer the game is already well into development and will launch in 2017, currently holds the codename of Pokemon Stars. So, not a new Pokemon game, but Pokemon Sun and Moon for the Switch being called Pokemon Stars or whatever. Either way, this is like super bad because yeah, it's holiday season. That if people that were kind of on the fringe about, I can buy Pokemon Sun and Moon later, they might wait till after holiday if they're already planning on missing out on the first month or two of Pokemon Sun and Moon. That anything beyond that is also going to be, you know, oh, I'm buying a Switch anyways, so why spend $40 on Pokemon Sun and Moon when I'm also going to be dropping a couple $100s on a console, and I can pick up Pokemon Sun and Moon there, and it's going to have better details, better graphics, and it's going to be on the console, and it's going to have a different experience tied to it overall. So that's really bad, especially this launch day leak right here. I know I'm part of this news shenanigans, but once the information gets out there, there's kind of nothing you can do. Eurogamer is massive. They dropped the news. Joe Merrick's tweeting it. Everyone knows about it right now, so I'm just going to do my part in kind of pitching in my thoughts and reporting on the news. Similar to how when Pokemon Sun and Moon was data mined. Like, once the data mine happened, I wasn't a part of that activity, so it can't come back to me. I'm just reporting the news overall. So, same thing going on here. Doesn't help, but situation's already screwed up anyways. So that is what we're looking at. I mean, this is big because if somehow, for some reason, someone does not own a 3DS right now, I've actually seen comments like, I would play Pokemon Sun and Moon, but I don't have a 3DS. Say theirs broke. They lost theirs. They just never got on board with the 3DS, but they're still huge fans of Pokemon. So many things could go wrong. This is the time to sell the last of the 3DSs. That 2DSs could move, new 3DS, older, like just backup stock. Pretty much, this is when Nintendo wanted to bundle. Holiday season, DSs are going to be super cheap. Pokemon Sun and Moon, they're going to be able to ship a lot of copies with that for holiday season. And also now with all these reveals, no. Someone's thinking, I could buy an NX instead. Why pay a couple $100s on a new console and a new game when I'm paying a couple $100 more to get the NX for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and all these other games? I'll pick up Pokemon Sun and Moon then. This is going to fuck over Nintendo, and this is going to piss off Nintendo super hard. And we don't know what that's going to mean. Like, Nintendo's been trying to do their best right now. That the Nintendo Switch, I love it. It looks great, definitely buying one. I'm going to try to get one day one if I can because it's an awesome looking system. Pokemon Sun and Moon, this is the big boy right now. This is going to move those last copies. This is going to get people playing something Nintendo right before the NX drops, before we get Breath of the Wild, the new Mario, all these crazy things going on. It's looking great for Nintendo until crap like this happens, until the game gets data mined, and then there's pirated copies of their biggest game, thousands of copies. They're not going to be sold because people are using homebrew and illegal systems for their 3DS. So that doesn't really go into any good things right there. Now as to my thoughts for Pokemon Sun and Moon on the NX. First off, it will be a little different. In fact, you may have already seen something from the Switch version. So it's going to be a Switch version and a 3DS version. That's not going to be the exact same game. Probably story-wise and gameplay, but for the graphics and stuff, it will be different because back in that February reveal, we got to see this picture of Pick-a-Peck right here. Well, apparently, we've heard this is for the Switch edition. So this is the HD in-game model for the new bird Pokemon Pick-a-Peck. And this was like the big, oh my goodness, Pokemon Sun and Moon's real 7th generation's happening. Well, we actually saw the Switch version and not the 3DS version while we got the 3DS announcement. So it's crazy stuff right now, and at the end of the day, we have Pokemon Sun and Moon on the Switch. Am I going to buy it? I still don't know, honestly, because I'm going to go hard into the 3DS. Depends on how compatible they are. Like, if it's effectively the same thing, maybe it is like a Battle Revolution, maybe it is like a Coliseum, like a Stadium. If it's the same, that's pretty much, it's a prettier looking game. Like, that looks smooth. That looks pretty right there. So if we have these big boss, amazing detailed like 3D models for all the Pokemon and they're fighting in a better battle scene, that could be pretty hype. I would buy it for that, but at the same time, I'd like the connectivity that I can trade my Pokemon over right there. Maybe that's what the battle registration box system that's going on Pokemon Sun and Moon is about. There's so many weird aspects to this, because remember a couple months ago, we got confirmation that Game Freak is developing for the NX or the Switch or whatever. I've probably mixed those up so many times in this video and all the other videos. Either way, it's really crazy because now our Pokemon fans going to be upset. Like, if this gets out, it's like, wait, I thought we were getting another Coliseum. I thought we were getting a bigger Pokemon game, maybe a 3D arena, stadium fighter, whatever you call that genre of games for Pokemon. No, it's just Pokemon Sun and Moon again. So some people might be super excited for it. Other people might be like, no, I wanted a new Pokemon game. I've been waiting, my entire life for a console Pokemon game, and they're not giving us a console Pokemon game just yet, at least initially. So it might go somewhere else, but at the same time, that console Pokemon game could be like another Rumble. They might try to start putting out Mystery Dungeon on the console instead, but we still are just looking at the Pokemon Sun and Moon. So that has its own weight to it, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on right here. So the implications are massive. Nintendo being pissed off, yeah, that's pretty obvious right now. I mean, when they started almost bricking consoles over pirated copies, like, they have every right. If you are using homebrew and you are using illegal pirated copies of a game, especially a new game, you're stealing thousands of downloads in the long run, and maybe even tens of thousands. Who knows how many people got a hold of that illegal Pokemon game? Either way, we have this many people getting a hold of that. Yeah, that's why they're banning people from Wi-Fi, saying, no, you're not allowed to do this, no Wi-Fi for you, especially because you're showing like a lot of hacking and other instances that could be detrimental to the Wi-Fi. But if they want to remove your several hundred or at least $100 system or something and completely brick it, they had every right to as well, since it's against terms of service and just straight up illegal. So there we go, guys. It's been pretty crazy. I mean, I've loved Pokemon Sun and Moon so far. I'm playing it right now. You might have actually noticed like a little crease over here of my Let's Play because I didn't quite get the screen region proper. But yeah, like from what I've been seeing, the gameplay and the experience could change drastically on the Switch when you think about it, because Pokemon, they've always been about making the handheld games its own experience. That there's many interviews about this. The reason why we haven't seen a major regional, the 5th generation, 6th generation, 7th generation, we didn't get any of these exclusively on console because Pokemon is always meant to be a social experience. That socially, you go out and you can either head over to a friend's house and battle Pokemon, or at least play alongside each other. You can go on the bus, you can go to the store, you can go to a coffee shop, you can go out to the park, you can play Pokemon as though it's real. Having it on console or having it on handheld applies and appeals to the spirit of Pokemon more than anything. But when we get into consoles, Game Freak doesn't want you to just sit at home only and be restricted to playing Pokemon like this. This is why Pokemon Go was so big, and this is why Pokemon Go was so stressful, and like getting out, going out, meeting all these people, having all these things to do outside, that it made a lot of people not only healthier, but it made people more active, and it really worked with Pokemon, that this was the real Pokemon adventure we all wanted since the start of the franchise, and we had it in our hands. We had Pokemon in our hands that we could interact with directly. So Pokemon Go, that's its own thing. Some people think it's great, some people think it sucks. Either way, you're going to get some fun out of Pokemon Go initially, and it kind of holds the handheld concept right there. The Switch. I guess since you can do both, Game Freak is okay with that. Maybe they're putting Pokemon Sun and Moon instead of a big game to give it a try. If they don't think that the audience likes it, maybe they're not going to develop a larger game for it, and they might just stick to whatever other console plans for Pokemon are. Other than that, I'm just like looking at some of the other options. I don't know battery life. We don't know everything about the Switch just yet. If the battery life's kind of bad, that could suck. But again, you can just kind of get your friends, like, grab your Switch, let's go play Pokemon. I would like to actually have a controller to play Pokemon. That would feel pretty sweet right there. So it is going to play differently. It's going to be an entirely different experience. I don't even know what else to say about it. Just grab your Switch and then head over to a friend's house. And if they have a Switch, then I guess you don't have to worry about battery power as much. So yeah, it's still going to be very social. I just want the battle connectivity to be about the same. Like, I want to be able to battle a friend on the Switch if I have a 3DS and vice versa. So I think that's all that Game Freak has to worry about. I'd imagine that they'd cover all that, because if you just, like, exclude everyone from having a Switch version from interacting with other people with Pokemon Sun and Moon, that's going to be a really bad thing, since not everyone is going to have a Switch, because I'd imagine there's going to be a lot of console shortages initially, even though people will want one on day one. So that's pretty much all I got to say about this. Crazy news with crazy impacts to be aware of. Joe Merrick isn't really happy. Yeah, Nintendo's been so leaky. They need to patch the leaks. It has become ridiculous. Pokemon Sun and Moon, Legend of Zelda, probably some other things that I'm not really keeping up in the Nintendo sphere. Whatever's going on with Etika, that could, I don't know if that was staged or a leak that got salvaged because it got drunk, or even like that seems like it might have been a little too much for Nintendo to do because so much is going on. Pokemon Sun and Moon got absolutely wrecked. And there we go. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.